Hey, and welcome back to Candid Talk. This is Lexee Love and
Valentina versus Valentino.
How is everyone this week? We are doing well. We just getting started and just partying and just having a really good time. So how did you like the podcast from last week?
Yeah, I thought it was awesome. Like, it was exhilarating, I guess you could say.
I know. I enjoyed the panel podcast that we had with the guys talking about life experiences in relationships.
Right.
And so I think everyone had a really good time.
Yeah, especially seeing like all the comments and stuff that we've been getting on the previous videos that we've done. So I'm just kind of waiting to see like what we're going to get.
Well, we're actually growing because we're over 1.2 thousand followers on our YouTube.
That's a big deal.
Right. Yeah, it's a big deal. I mean, considering that we just started and we just moving, getting better as we move forward. So yeah, before we get into everything else, our podcast title is Reflecting Mirrors. And so Valentina decided to make a drink referring to herself. So what did you make for us tonight?
So I made a lemon drop martini. And the reason I chose to make a lemon drop martini, not only is it just one of my favorite drinks to make, I feel like I make it well because I do enjoy it. And it's something that like I would order if I went to a bar or just make at home.
So do you think it's like a ladies drink or is it like for both?
It's definitely a ladies drink. You can also do it as a shot as well. Nice. But if a guy orders it, typically, they get it as a shot. But the reason why I picked this one based off the title is because before I really started drinking, everybody used to call me like the sour mix queen. So
seriously?
Yeah, anything, because I wasn't a real drinker, and it's kind of one of those things where you kind of have to work yourself into it because some people, especially when they're just new to drinking, they want something, that's sweeter. So
exactly what did you do? What is the rim?
So it's a sugar rim. That's pretty much standard for any lemon drop unless you just don't want a sugar rim on it.
Okay.
Because ultimately it's a semi-sweet lemon, drink. It's very popular drink. A lot of people order it, like they order all the time at the job. Well, I want it. And then we don't offer it as a cocktail, but we do offer it as a shooter in our, on our signature, part of our signature drinks at work. So like I said, I mean,
what's the ingredients for the audience?
So it's a simple drink. So it's pretty much, you can use regular vodka, but I use citron vodka just because it makes more sense. And it just gives you that flavor that you're looking for just right off the back without doing too much.
It's really good.
Man,
it's really good.
I love them. You literally can like drink it all day. But
I don't know about all day. you might be falling out by the time.
Well, pacing yourself, eating and drinking water and stuff like that. So citron vodka, added triple sec to it, some sour mix. I added actual lemons to it to give it that
tartness,
that grainy look. Like when you're finished, like because you So and that's pretty much it. I added some lemon juice to it and some simple syrup, but that's pretty much it.
Man,
so it's simple. Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a lemon drop. This is actually really good. So if I ever go out, I'm gonna actually order and see if the bartender makes it as good as you, because this is really good.
And then with this,
you spoiled me. To be honest with you, she spoiled me.
You can add flavors to this too, like blueberry. Like it just depends on where you go, but you'll see.
I'm telling you, Valentina has spoiled me rotten when it comes to drinks because she is actually a really awesome bartender. You're going to get your money's worth if you ever go to where she's working. We're not going to tell where she's working. So if you ever happen to run into her at the place that she works, you'll know why.
Right.
So yeah, we just want to like give a shout out to everybody: D Trail, Sean, Howard Horn, my dad, Victor Brown. It was just awesome to have them and just get their perspective.
Right.
And so we're looking forward to doing it again in June, hopefully. That we'll have some different guys on there and a lot of entertainers, because I am in an entertaining business. So that's who I gravitate towards. And because just to let people know that we're just regular people like pretty much everybody else. So do you have any pet peeves or anything?
Okay, so actually I do.
Oh, no.
And I just got one today.
Okay.
So, you know how you decided to do the podcast Reflection. And you had mentioned that entertainers are normal people. A lot that I have been seeing, like just on social media, is a couple celebrities have been getting back with past relationships who they've been with, like J-Lo and Ben Affleck got married.
Oh, they got married?
Yeah, they actually got married after 10 years.
Wow.
And I saw something about Ashanti and Nelly getting back together after 10 years. And then there was another celebrity, Summer Walker and Little Beach.
So this is not a pet peeve. This is just something that was been going on.
I'm going to tell you why it's into a pet peeve. Like they, had got back together. But the pet peeve would be, especially how we were talking about earlier, about everything that's going on in the world. Well, I feel like when it comes to celebrities or just people in general, people seem to have a bad habit on like voicing their negative opinions about what other people do.
Okay.
And that's just kind of like,
you're not living their life. You don't know what's going on with them, but you got something to say.
Exactly. It's always something negative. And it's just kind of like, I believe as human beings and just in general, just as this life, that people do evolve, that people grow, that people change. So it's just kind of like, who are you to tell somebody?
Yeah,
it's like you don't know these people. They're regular people just like everybody else. So it's just kind of like.
And you don't know them personally. I mean, that is a difference. I mean, with anybody, you're looking from the outside in,
right? And
you really don't know what's going on,
right? You just have to respect people's decisions.
Yeah, I mean, free will. That's pretty much the bottom line. Right. I mean, you can pretty much pick who you want to be with, who you don't want to be with, and if you decide to reconcile that relationship, at the end of the day,
and if it was something, my thing is, if it was something that whatever it was that decided to end it, if those people can come together and work on whatever it was, or they've overcome it, or they're making, people accountable, or whatever the case may be, then all you can do is be happy for them and hope that it works out.
I mean, it's not, I always say, is it putting any money in your pocket?
Exactly. Mind the business that pays you. And then just going back into relationships, like, people don't want to work stuff out, and you sometimes you just never know. You don't know who God has in store for you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, 10 years is a long time to
I mean,
not
maybe
be
they
with
grow,
somebody.
and maybe they grew.
Right.
There were some things that, I'm more with J-Lo and Ben Affleck because they're more in my age group.
Right.
That, maybe it was some things that they had to deal with.
And they both got remarried and had their own kids in their life, and they ended up coming back together. So it's just kind of like.
And I think the love was always there for them. It was always there, but it was never the right time.
Right. And sometimes that's the case for some things. Yeah.
So. You know what? Whatever's good for you is whatever's good for you. I don't have time to be meddling. I got my own stuff going on to be worrying about what other people are doing.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I got, exciting stuff, obviously. I've been getting a lot of callbacks and doing a lot of auditions. So, but it's a numbers game. It really is a numbers game. You want to get as many callbacks and auditions as you possibly can. That's just the way the industry works. Yeah. I know you loving that, huh?
Right. I don't want to sit for too long.
But my pet peeve really is, I don't know if it's a pet peeve or it's just, I don't know. Anytime I go out in public, anytime, I always call it my pheromones, that I could go somewhere and be sitting off by myself and somebody will come and sit. There will be absolutely nobody sitting nowhere else, and it's open space,
right?
And they will come and sit right next to me. And I don't know if that just like I don't know why that bothers me.
Because I know that, as you said, that bothers you too with parking. How people
parking,
park
oh my
right
God.
on top of each other.
I can park like 50 miles away from the store, and I promise you, somebody's going to park right next to me. And I don't know why it's agitating. It's like, it irritates me. Like, you don't see all these other parking spaces?
Right, yeah.
So yeah, that's like a thing for me.
Yeah.
I know when I used to go to the gym, early in the morning, like 5 in the morning, and there'd be nobody on the treadmills but me. There's like 20 treadmills. Guess what? The person would come in and they would get on the treadmill right next to me.
Oh, wow.
And I'd be like this, really? All these treadmills are open, ain't nobody in the gym.
Right.
So I don't know, maybe it is a pheromone. Maybe it's something about me that attracts people, and I shouldn't get mad about it.
Right.
But it's just like,
maybe it's just a sign, like,
yeah, maybe just people
just drawn to you.
Maybe so. I don't know. But, it's
what
whatever.
Can you do?
Yeah, what can you do but just embrace it?
Like, hey, like,
somebody actually, somebody likes me. I'll say that. Somebody likes me.
Right, exactly. You don't even know me.
Yeah, so let me, I got to pull my stuff over here. But yeah, actually, since we're talking about reflecting mirrors today, I actually started watching this show on Netflix called Brimington. That's the title of it. And it's an episode. It's not a movie, it's an episode. And basically,
it's a show?
Yes, it's an actual show.
You said it's an episode.
Well, I did.
Yeah.
Well, they have episodes. It's actually a show with episodes.
Right.
So it has seasons. So this is the first season, and
it came out this year.
Yeah, it just came on Netflix. Probably this week they just added it, and I'm assuming that I don't know if it was filmed here. I don't think it was filmed here in America because all of the actors have a British accent, and it's a fictional, but they have historic people in it, which are King George III and Queen Charlotte. And I don't think those things weren't taught to us in history. Right. They were not.
Which a lot of things aren't. But.
And King George III was actually he had the crown back in the Revolutionary War, and he actually married a woman because they're appointed. They do this little treaty thing. And the woman that he married, she was from, Myro? I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Myro, Germany. She was from a black Portuguese royal house because they don't do nothing but, so, the lady that is married now, she don't got nothing on this one because I actually went back and looked at the picture of her and she looks like a biracial female, like, some of the kids look like now. Right. So she definitely looked like she was black.
Right.
And it's actually a very good series. It's really good. And it just depicts the story of, I don't know how much they have pulled from historic information that people wrote back then and they found and stuff. And what is actually filler, that I call it, made up story to fill in the information. But actually, King George III was actually, they called him a manic depressive psychosis. He had mental illness. So they were pretty much married from the time she was 17 because he got the crown when he was 22. Yeah. She married at 17. She had 15 children.
I just still can't believe that. Like,
I know that's a lot of kids, even back then. I mean, because women died in childbirth all the time, and 13 of them became adults.
And they probably didn't even say if she lost any kids.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So they just record of 15 children.
Born.
2 of them died. So
Two of them died like during childbirth?
No, during when they were children. Yeah, they got. Well, I think one of them got like tuberculosis
or something.
Yes.
Okay.
And they passed. Yeah, they died. And so his mental illness really just, I mean, they depicted her as being lonely. That's what she was. She was very lonely because he had mental illness, and she knew. She found out in the show. They showed that she found out about it, and she probably did. And it wasn't like she wanted to leave him or she wanted to help him. But I guess men with their egos, he felt that he wasn't whole enough for her, like he was half a man, because he did love her. He did love her, but he would go and just they called it, if he was diagnosed in modern times, he would be a bipolar.
Right.
And so, and then they had blamed him for losing the what is it? I can't even pronounce it.
Revolutionary War?
Revolutionary War, yes. When, because they wanted a tax. It was a tax here. And the Americans were like, no, we don't want to pay anymore. Right. So they blamed him for losing the Revolutionary War. Yeah. And so basically the reason why in the story, I don't know how true it is, so just take that as you have to do your own research. The reason why his mother chose her was because they wanted because they had royal Africans there in England, and they wanted to merge the two together because they were separated. So they figured that being that she looked like them, that the African, the African royal people and the English royal people would actually come together as one society. But like even today, it's the same way. It's kind of like some people are just like, no, you're beneath me, that kind of thing. Right. So it's really, like I said, you should watch it. It's actually really good. She died when she was 74. He died when he was 81. And actually, Charlotte, North Carolina is actually named after her, because I didn't realize. I did a little research because I wanted to know that the city of Charlotte is actually the queen. They actually named it after her.
Fun fact.
Yeah, so I thought it was awesome. And it's a really good, like I said, the actors are awesome. Yeah. And they go back and forth in time when she was 17 and then when she became an older woman. So they have two different actresses. And it's like really, a big dynamic. And I think anyone should watch it. Anybody should watch it, because I think that history for us has been hidden of how successful African Black people within any country, England, here in America, in Caribbean, wherever, we come from royalty. Right. We actually do. So I like I said, I enjoyed it. And the reason why I brought that up is because I felt like with our title, Reflecting Mirrors, it reflects who we really are, and we've lost our history. Yeah. And I feel it's been taken away from us. Right. Because it's not, everything is not actually told to us. Yeah. So yeah, that's just a little tidbit for me. Right. So actually, your daughter, she had advised me to do something. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. And I'm going to do it on you before we get started with everything, called Rapid Relay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to have a few seconds to answer, and then I'm moving on to the next one. Okay? Mm-hmm. Just so everybody can know who you are. Know just a little bit about you. Okay. So you don't mind being my first candidate for it?
Guinea pig?
Yeah, you're a guinea pig.
Hopefully I have a good enough answer.
Well, you know what? It's either going to be true. I mean, it's going to be true because it's going to be so fast. So I'm going to count in my head, and if you don't... How
many seconds are you giving me, like 30?
No, 30, that's too long. Like
30 seconds is too long?
Yeah, 30 seconds, like 5-6 seconds.
Okay, well, I hope you're asking me something like, what's my favorite color?
We gonna see. Okay, let's go. Name one superpower you would want to have. Who motivates you?
Who motivates me?
Yes, who motivates you?
Jillian.
Your best feature?
My eyes.
Money, love, or fame?
Love.
Okay. If you could live anywhere, where would it be? She can't think fast enough.
No, because this is kind of stuff that you like.
You got to think about for a minute?
Yeah. This ain't like simple stuff like, okay, would you have a cat or a dog? Or
but that's the whole point.
Would you go to New York or would you go to Milan? Like, options.
Okay, well, if you could live anywhere, what would it be? Where would it be? Where would it be? Anywhere. Money is not an object.
I don't know, because it takes more than just saying, okay, well, I want to live somewhere. You can say, where would you visit? Like, I could visit anywhere because I'm not living there, but it's more to it.
She's making it more difficult than that.
Yeah, I feel like you need to give it options. A or B.
That's the whole point of calling it rapid relay. Okay, my advisor told me that this is how I should ask the question.
A 9-year-old.
Yes, but this is kind of cute.
I mean, you gotta think about, like, there's a lot of superpowers. I mean, what do you feel like is gonna be best for you? You can't just know.
Mind reader. Like, that's my superpower, mind reader.
Okay, but do you know all of the superpowers? Why would you choose mind reader?
Because then I would know everything, and then I could determine how I wanted to deal with that person. Because if I can read their mind, then I would know how to basically talk to them.
But think about the downside to it.
Yeah, it's always a downside to every superpower.
Yeah, that's where I'm like, it's a downside to everything.
There's a downside to superpower. Invisibility, downside. Fly.
I think too much about stuff, so you can't. I'm not the perfect candidate for this.
I'm trying it because my guests are gonna have to do the rapid relay.
I think you should tweak it and give
tweak
options.
it, but no. I don't want to give options. I want it whatever comes to their mind.
Okay.
And then that's what makes it fun.
So I don't want to be a part of it.
But you just were.
Yeah, because I was your guinea pig.
Well, yeah, but you still have fun.
But advice.
But you did still say a few things.
Yeah, answered 2 of them.
Yeah, but still, hey. I mean, I get it. And I mean, some people are not going to be able to answer right away because it just depends on how fast you can think. And that's why it's called rapid relay. How fast can you think?
It's not really true.
Well, no, because a lot of times,
you're just thinking the first thing that comes to your brain.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay,
it's like an exercise.
Yes, as an actor, especially when you do improv, guess what? You don't know what's going to come out of that other person's mouth, so you got to be ready for whatever.
Yeah, but I feel like that's a little bit easier because you're responding to either a question or a statement.
Telling you, some people can't do it. Some people can't. You have to be able to think fast. It's just a mind game. It's just a fun mind game. That's it. Just to entertain and let the audience just see a different side of you.
That's not true.
Oh my gosh, she's making it more difficult than it has to be.
If you're just thinking the first thing that comes to your head, it's not always true. Unless you kind of already know what the question's going to be.
Sometimes. Because when she asked me, which superpower, first thing I said is mind reading.
Yeah, but did she give you time?
What, like 5 seconds? Because she was like, mine is invisibility.
Because it's obviously something she's thought about.
Okay, well, that's what I'm just saying, but.
So it's still.
Okay. Okay, well, we're gonna just go forward with our stuff since you're gonna make it more difficult.
I'm a sore loser. I don't care.
She don't get no prize.
What was the prize? Do I get a trip to my favorite country?
Well, you don't know what it is, so no. So what I have decided to do is, really just talk about reflecting mirrors and just go back and forth with it. But everything that we do is always opinionated. That's how I feel that anything that we talk about is opinionated because facts are great, but that's a lot of research that you have to do.
Right.
And then, you always have, I just feel like opinion is better. So for me, there are 2 types of mirrors that individuals reflect to the world and people. First, their own self mirror, which is receiving. And then the second, how the individual sees their reflections in others, projecting. So when you look in the mirror, you are basing it what you're receiving.
Right.
And then when
it makes sense.
Okay, so you get it. Because I don't even need to explain nothing to you. Good.
Nope.
I'm so glad.
You sure don't.
I'm so glad. So I also broke it down into 2 categories, negative energy and reflection and positive energy reflection. So these two categories are not necessarily black and white. You can have gray areas as well.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it could be in both.
Right.
So my thoughts and questions would be how you think this relates to you personally and connecting with others. Okay? So you're reflecting mirrors. So do you consider the reflection of insecurities as a negative or positive reflection? And what category would you place your answer, receiving or projecting?
Negative and receiving and projecting. Well, no, I would say receive. Well, you said projecting is yourself. No, that's people. Receiving.
Yeah, receiving is when you look at yourself.
Yeah, so it's negative and it's receiving.
So you consider your reflection of insecurity is both.
Yeah.
Okay, and that makes sense because our personalities are just that way.
Right.
That sometimes you may wake up and be like, I don't look. It could be your hairstyle, it could be your makeup, it could be how you're dressed, it could be you're on your cycle.
Right.
And you just receiving that, you do that. So, okay, cool. I definitely understand that, aspect of it. I think with our self-reflection when we're looking at ourselves, I think we have a tendency to be more negative a lot of times, and I think that is something that we should work on, that because we are our own worst critic.
Right.
And a lot of times I feel like I think we down ourselves more than we should.
Definitely.
And so and so then when you do that, I feel that's when you're projecting it to the world as well.
Yeah.
And so you should always, when you look in the mirror at yourself, and I'm using the mirror as an example, is when you look at yourself in the mirror, the first thing you do is you look at your face and you're like, what do I need to do? Our makeup and stuff.
Yeah, you look at yourself all day.
Well, yeah, especially when you're looking in a mirror. So I just believe that when you do that, you should always project positive,
Right, because that's what people are receiving. Perceiving.
Yes, yes. So if you feel bad about yourself, then you wonder why everybody else is feeling bad.
It shows.
Yeah, because that energy that you're giving off. And I think we have a tendency to not understand that. And you're like, why is everybody looking at me? Well, because you're feeling bad about yourself. Because have you ever walked in a room and people have been like, you're feeling good about yourself. You're like, ooh, I look good or whatever.
And they can tell. And you have all this bubbly energy, like you're excited,
confident.
You're happy. People feel that, like they notice it. They love it. They're feeding on it. So, yes.
Yes. And I think that's what...
Even when you're having a bad day.
You should do it.
Especially more than ever.
Yeah, you should. That's when you know that you have disciplined yourself.
Right. Even if you got to wake up every day, like how you have in the mirror these quotes that you constantly see, or people get tattoos and stuff, it's a constant reminder of, okay, you love yourself, your self-worth. Like that's important. You're lifting
yourself up when nobody else, because I think you should be your first
because
cheerleader.
Honestly, I feel like nobody has to know anything about you, but if you come in and you take over the room and you know what you're talking about and you're doing this and you're doing that, who's going to tell you that you're wrong? Who's going to tell you that that's not what you're doing? That's not where you're going. They're not going to, because you got this confidence, like you know. So they're not going to tell you otherwise. They're going to be like, okay, girl, like, give me some tips. Like, they're going to listen to you.
Yeah, they can tell. You give off that energy.
Right, but if you're like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you feel more, what's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know, energetic, confident.
Not energetic, but you feel more confident taking advice from somebody that at least shows that they know what they're talking about versus somebody that's just kind of like, I don't know, like, are you just in a bad
the body language.
Right.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. I mean, even when I deal with people on a regular basis, I kind of know who has insecurities about who they are.
Just
based on how they deal with me.
Right. Or just how they carry themselves.
Yeah.
Like, come on now. Like,
I mean, I always have that issue.
Right.
Yeah. When people look at me and they're like, you know, kind of like they feel like, oh, she looks, you know, she looks like she's in charge.
Right.
Because I always get asked that all the time.
And they make you feel inferior.
They feel inferior.
Yeah, they feel inferior, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, whatever.
Right.
Like, I know who I am.
Exactly. Right.
We said the exact same time.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and that's how you have to be.
Right. Exactly. Even if you're having a bad day. Because you can always go behind closed doors and cry or whatever. But
yeah, of course. Yeah.
Everybody has bad days, but it's just how you deal with it. Like how you
how you perceive yourself and project yourself to other people and like, you know what? I'm gonna do this.
Right.
I'm gonna
get
strut
through it. Right. Ain't nobody gonna know what's going on.
No, ain't nobody gonna know what's going on.
Right.
Do you think when someone finds something wrong with you subconsciously without knowing you, do you think it's receiving or projecting a reflection?
Projecting.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I feel the same way. It's like we just talked about. That sometimes, I mean, I'm not saying everybody, because some people just go through life just like la 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 la.
Right.
But people who are really in tune to energy and really pay attention, they could tell.
Yeah, especially nowadays, because I feel like everybody I come in contact with is so into like energy, like, oh, you're giving me bad energy, or what's going on type thing. Like they can tell, like they notice. It's almost like they're looking for it.
Yeah, or they can feel it. I mean, just a lot of times very intuitive. I mean, I know that you are. I mean, you've been that way since you were a child. Like,
right.
I mean, not to go off subject, but I can remember when we went to the mountains when you were. Was it
the Poconos?
No, it wasn't the Poconos. It was the mountains in, Lynchburg, Virginia. And we stayed in the cabins.
Nana Peepaw?
Yeah. And you wouldn't stay in that room?
Yeah.
She was like, I'm not staying in that room. And I was like, what was you, maybe 10 or 12?
No, I was a kid. Elementary school, maybe middle school.
5th grade, maybe 4th or 5th grade, something like that. And she's like, Mom, I'm not staying in that room. I'm like, why? She said, because somebody died in there.
Yeah. And
she would not stay in that room.
Yeah, and I remember telling Mercedes and Lewis about it, and they were all just like,
Did they? I don't think they stayed in the room. They were like, we're not. Victoria said we're not. And
then I remember one time too, like when we was living in DC, and I saw this white hand, like.
I remember you told me that.
Because I was telling Mercedes about it too. I never forget it. Like it was just weird. Like I never saw a body. It was just a white hand. Like,
were we in the apartment or?
Yeah, in the apartment.
Yeah.
Like it was weird.
Yeah.
It was almost like it was a cartoon hand or something, but it was just a white, like a white glove or whatever. It was just weird.
But you only saw it one time.
Just at one time, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and you actually inherited that, because not for me to get into it too much,
right? Because that's going way off topic.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying. Reflection. It's still reflection of things, and so yeah, you definitely inherited that. From me, I inherited it from my mom. And probably my grandmother.
And probably on Stan's side too. Because I know he was saying at some point, like, I don't know, I guess somebody in his family's kind of like into that, like.
All of the spiritual, talking to,
Yeah.
I don't want to get like in, I don't do none of that. But I have been, I guess I can say I've been visited. I have had out-of-body experiences.
Right.
I've actually, had things, energy come and acknowledge me, and I ignored it because I didn't know if it was.
What do you mean acknowledge you?
Like they pull the covers off of me. And I was
like kind of stuff when you're like sleeping or not really paying
not sleep. I wasn't asleep. I was getting to sleep, and then I could feel like something pulled the covers off of me, and I turned around.
Like completely off, or just kind of tugging
pulled it like this, like pulled it. Like I could feel it.
Yeah.
And then when I was in the room and I turned around, but I did not super acknowledge it.
You turned around in the bed?
Yeah, I turned around and looked. And I've actually been laying down and I thought somebody was walking in the room.
But not here, right?
Yeah, here at the house. Yeah, and when I was at my parents' house.
Yeah, but this house has been built, so no one's lived
But
here.
you got to remember that,
So that means that something followed you.
Oh, no.
But it doesn't. But only attached to somebody up in here.
But it doesn't do it all the time. It only does it every once in a while.
Like you feel a presence.
Yeah, yeah, but it's not like mean or anything. It's just kind of like, I don't know. I can't explain it. Yeah, like I've been in the shower, and I felt like something just came in there and like hit the shower, and I actually pulled the shower back to see who was, thinking that it was Jillian or something, and there's nothing there.
Right.
So I'm just like, I'm not gonna acknowledge, I'm not gonna talk or whatever because I don't know. But it's never, yeah. So I don't know. But this is something that has always happened to me from the time I was little. Since I was a child. So yeah, I know we went way off topic, but it's something that people don't really like to talk about because they're afraid of it. I'm not afraid of it. It's just kind of like you can't do anything to me unless I allow you to, because you're in the spirit realm and I'm in the physical realm.
Right. So
how do you think when someone pretends to be your friend but talks behind your back, is that a receiving or a projecting reflection?
I would say, I don't know, because it's something that somebody else is deciding to do.
So it would be projecting. They're projecting themselves onto you. They're projecting how they feel about themselves onto you. That's how I would see it, because they're talking behind your back. It's not a reflection that you're giving off to them. They're projecting their insecurities onto you. So of course they're going to talk behind your back.
Yeah, so it definitely would be, yeah.
I don't believe that, because I mean, if you're
like that,
if you're secure in who you are and you don't have any beef with that person,
right?
Because usually, to me, people who have beef with you are insecure. They may see something in you that they don't like because you have a quality or a talent that they want and they can't. They don't have it. Yeah. So to me, I think they're projecting themselves onto you because they are insecure with themselves.
Right.
And that happens a lot. And it happens a lot, especially, amongst people that we think that are our friends and really, really aren't. And then they come out and let us know that, hey, so yeah, that's happened a lot for me. That's probably why I don't have a lot of female friends.
I don't really know. I just kind of I don't know. It's just kind of one of those things. Like, I'm a people watcher. I watch people. Like, I see how they interact with me. I see how they interact with other people. And it's just kind of like, chances are, if they treating their so-called friends, talking behind their back and doing this and that and
they're
third,
doing it to you.
Chances are they're probably doing it to you too. Because you're just kind of like, okay, well, this is somebody you claim is your friend, but yet in here we are.
They coming and telling you. They telling you stuff.
Right? Are you just talking about them to somebody else, and I just happen to be around, and I'm just kind of like thinking my own thoughts. Like, okay, well,
are you thinking they're saying, "Oh, that's my friend. I hang out with them," but then they come and talk bad about them,
right? Like, or telling their business, like,
yeah, it's just kind of like, yeah, I'm not gonna tell you nothing,
right?
Because no telling,
I gotta handle you,
You gotta handle like this, with pretty much at a distance. Yeah. So when someone chooses to keep you confused about the level of relationship with them, do you consider that a receiving or projection or projecting reflection?
I don't know if I really like this question.
You don't like that question?
I don't like this question or the last question, because I just kind of feel like...
That's why I said it can be gray. It's not black or white. It's gray. I look at it this way. Because
I'm looking at it more... Because I've been in a situation, I'm sure you have too, where you can carry yourself a certain kind of way, but somebody else perceives you as something else. So that's how,
and it could be both.
I'm looking at it.
It could be both.
I thought I knocked some over. Yeah.
It could be both. It doesn't have to be either or. I'm just asking the question. It's not a right or wrong.
Right. Okay. So
answer. Yeah.
How somebody what?
If someone chooses to keep you confused about the level of the relationship with them, do you consider that to be receiving or projecting reflection? Meaning that, are they projecting how they see themselves onto you, or you're reflecting that to them?
I guess that's reflecting that to them. If this is how they feeling about you, if they confused, then it's something that you're doing that's confusing them.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it could be black or white, because everybody doesn't always show who they really are.
Right.
So you have to put that in perspective too. Yeah. Because I know I've dealt with people where you think that they're one way and they end up being something else. And, like I said, these are questions just based on how I have had experience with people.
Yeah.
And sometimes I look at, how am I projecting myself to people, and then how are they reflecting? Because sometimes I don't know who's doing what. Yeah. And it just really depends. It really depends on the situation. Now, I'm confident in who I am. Mm-hmm. I am confident in my talent. I'm confident in being able to hold a conversation. I'm confident in how I look.
Right.
So a lot of times it's like, well, maybe it's the other person because they feel insecure about themselves.
Right.
And I may look at them and be like, there's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
But that person, so I'm just saying that we need to look at not so much the other person all the time. Sometimes it's us reflecting the negative energy or the positive energy. It's not. Right. We always can't. It's like they were talking about last week. Accountability. So you have to be accountable. That's my
big thing. Yeah.
What reflection are you, or what are you giving off, or what are you?
Especially if you're an adult, it's just kind of like better. At some point, like
you would think.
Yeah, you would think and you would hope, but some people it takes a little bit longer for them to get it. But
I don't know. I mean, that's why I said wisdom. They always say wisdom comes with age, not necessarily.
Yeah, I mean,
I think wisdom comes with experience.
Right.
How much have you experienced? How many issues that you've dealt with, and you raised yourself up from it.
Right.
Because that's how you get wise. I think through trauma, through issues that did not go your way.
Yeah.
You don't just get wise because you get old. You may go through life and not deal with nothing. And you aren't wise. No, you're not wise.
Yeah, you don't know nothing. Right.
Yeah.
Because you ain't never gone through nothing. So you can't really ever give anybody any advice.
Yeah.
Because you don't know.
Yeah.
You a baby. You green. You naive.
You say you green, you a baby. You 50 years old and still a baby. Still eating baby food, drinking your mama's breast milk.
I mean, you ain't, probably some people like that. They 50 years old and they still living with their parents. They never just go out on their own. They never want to go out on their own,
Yeah, I think going through.
I mean, that's the only way you could be that age and still be that green. Like you never lived your own life. Like you never wanted to live your life. There's some people like that.
Yeah, and so when
they don't ever leave.
So when you look at a reflection, all you see is just your reflection and how you perceive yourself. Yeah. And you never deal with any trauma or any experiences. Hey. Hey. Yeah, that was Jada coming in from work, But I think that even reflection can be negative if you never experience anything.
Right. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So how do you, really.
No, because working.
Oh, yeah. Because they heard Jada come in. But I just think that we don't ever think about that as well.
Right.
That some people don't ever experience anything.
Right.
Or we're talking about anything. So how can you teach anybody, or how can you,
you just can't.
You just kind of, like you said.
Or you can't give everybody advice on every situation, especially if you've never lived through it. You know, or you've never actually like stayed in it long enough to see it through. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just kind of one of those things. Like, not everybody can deal with the same. Everybody's built differently. Like, what you can tolerate, the next person may not be able to tolerate, but you don't know. Yeah. You know, because you never actually was in it enough
or you never really dealt with it. Right. You never lived through it. You don't know anybody else.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, I would call that person that. I mean, even you, the street smartness.
Then I mean, I'm
built
like a damn Ford.
She is. Like you've experienced things that I never experienced.
I don't know. And that's why I feel like I have such a greater purpose, because I can deal with a lot of stuff, you know.
You've dealt with a lot of things.
And you have to, I feel like God is in a sense preparing everybody for whatever it is that they are about to encounter. So in a sense, he's got to get you ready, you know.
Oh yeah, well.
He's got to get you ready.
You're Teflon. You
Teflon.
That's what I'm saying. Because she's dealt with a lot. Valentina has dealt with stuff that I never would have thought as a mom. That
you never would have think, just looking at me, because it's like I still wake up every day and I'm like, life is good. Like,
it's like, how did I survive through that? Through those things. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. It's like, I was like, no, when you wake up, you're thinking like, hey, how did I survive that? Because that's some storyline stuff that you would like see in a movie or something. You know?
How can I say my life is a movie?
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
So, how do you handle someone when they use their weakness to plant self-doubt about you? And do you believe that person is projecting their weakness because they see your strength?
What?
No. Okay, well, I will break it down from one and then we'll go to the next. How do you handle someone when they use their weakness to plant self-doubt about you? So they're projecting their weakness onto you. Like they'd be like, you know, you can have a conversation and be like, Valentina, she don't ever know how to make a drink right. Or Valentina always talking to customers and they really have just not into her. And she thinks that.
But how is that their weakness?
Because they're projecting their weakness on you. Because you are confident, you know what you're doing.
So because they know I'm doing it better than them.
Yes.
So they don't do it that good.
Yes.
So they hating on me.
Yes. So how do you handle those type of people?
You know what? I just laugh them off, honestly, because I mean, like, my thing is when you're working with people, you're working with the general public, you're working in customer service, all that stuff matters. Like, even though somebody may not always come to you and be like, hey, Valentina, you're doing such a great job. I love this, blase, blase. They're still watching to see how you know, but I guarantee if you're doing something bad, then you're going to hear about it. That's what you're going to hear about it.
Most definitely.
And I don't ever hear anything about, you know, anything, because at the end of the day, I feel like I was brought up to, doesn't matter what you do, do it well. Men always said that all the time. Like, do it, you know, give your best. Like, just being mediocre, it's not going to get you anywhere. Like, it doesn't matter. You might not want to do this 5 years from now. But while you're doing it, do it right. Do it correctly, because, and especially my industry, it's not just me back there. It's 2 other people or 4 or 3 other people sometimes, depending on what's going on. So we all are working together. So if I'm slacking, then that's not fair to everybody else, because then they're picking up my slack. So it just kind of goes back to just being mindful of what's going on around you and enjoying your job and having fun at the same time. Don't think, okay, well, because to me, you can deal with anything for, you know, you can deal with anything for a little while. And it's just, you know, about how you do it.
I mean, what I do right now, I don't really have to deal with that because I work independently.
Right.
But, let's see. Have I had that? If it has happened, I didn't know it. They hid it. So I never had to really deal with someone else's weakness projecting.
Like you didn't get any kind of feedback.
No, not really. Well, let me see. I don't know. Maybe probably when I lived in DC and I worked in the government, we had a lot of black females that I worked with. Yeah. And there was always conflict because I knew how to do my job really well. Like I knew how to do it really well. So they would try to find any little thing.
Like just your coworkers or your managers?
Yeah, the coworkers, the supervisors and the branch managers, the branch. They loved me. Right. They already knew.
They didn't have no issues.
Yeah,
with you.
They already knew that Lexee knew what the heck she was doing. I only had to show me how to do it one time. Right. And I was a professional. Right. But some of the other ladies, because matter of fact, I think about it. When I first got back, I moved back to DC, and you guys were little, and I got into Department of Justice, and they brought me in as a secretary. Yeah. And I wasn't even a secretary for 6 months before they promoted me into a administrative assistant, and I was dealing with travel, meaning that when the people went on travel, I did all the paperwork to reimburse them. Okay. And there was a girl that was working there already. She had been there probably maybe a couple years. Yeah. And she was really my friend. Like when I first got there, she was my friend.
So y'all both started doing the same.
No, she was already there. She was a secretary herself.
Oh, okay.
So when they brought me in, she was all nice,
Right, because you were beneath her.
Pretty much. Right. But then when they promoted me.
Then it was a different story.
Yeah, because she wanted me to come to her house. She was telling me about her husband.
Before you got promoted.
Yes. As soon as I got promoted, it was like knife. Because they had moved me into my own office, everything. And she hated it.
So you didn't have an office? She didn't have an office?
No, because in the government it's a little bit different. Yeah. But we were out in the open. Yeah. She was across from me. I sat across from her. Yeah. But then when I became an administrative assistant.
The same job title she had?
No, she was just a secretary. We both were secretaries.
Yeah, so you moved up.
I moved up because they thought it. She didn't because I had the potential.
You took your job seriously.
Yeah, I took the job very seriously. Yeah, I was very good at it. And they were like, "Oh well, we need to, promote her."
Now, did you ask to get promoted?
No, they came up to me. They came up to me. It's like we're gonna promote you to this because
that's even better. Because they offer you something.
I remember her name. I think her name was Liz. Either it was Liz or Leslie, and she was moving to another job, and she liked me. She liked me a lot.
She couldn't have.
No. The lady who moved, the move that I took her job. She's the one who put in the ear to my branch manager. I think that she should
be a good replacement.
Yes, a good replacement. And homegirl was. She was trying to be nice to me. She would come into the office and be like, "Oh, are you okay? You in here by yourself?"
When you got promoted?
Yes. And I already knew.
How could you tell?
Because her energy was off. I mean, she was just kind of like, because she was always...
Okay, well, you tell me. I don't know.
Well, yeah, she would always try to invite me to her house and stuff. All that stopped. And like when
she was kind of like ignoring you.
Ignoring me. But I already knew that was going to happen. But it wasn't to me. It's always about the money. I could care less about friendship because I'm not here to be your friend when I'm trying to move up, when I got to take care of my kids and I'm trying to, move up in the world.
You had 2 kids. You're a single mom. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I didn't care. Right. I mean, I was just like, a friend anyway.
Right, exactly. Because if you were, you would be happy for me.
Yeah, she was definitely not happy. I mean, she got to the point like she used to eat lunch with me. Homegirl stopped eating lunch with me. I would come in there. Oh yeah. And she would be looking at me with her little friends, and I didn't care. It was all about the dollar for me. I was moving up. I took the job as a secretary because I needed to get back in. Because I was already in. I had moved back. I had moved from Virginia Beach back up to DC. So it was just about, I'm gonna take a job so I can get back in.
Right.
And I'm not gonna stay. My whole mindset is to move up. Right. I'm not staying in the same place just because you stay in the same place.
Right.
And
exactly.
I said, the reason why you stay in the same place is because you're a busybody. That's all she did, was walk around, talk about everybody.
Yeah, see.
And then the upper management saw it, and they're like, we don't want to deal with that.
Right.
So yeah, that was pretty much
She's just collecting a check. She don't really care about the job.
Yeah, pretty much. And so yeah. So the second part of it is, and do you believe that the person is projecting their weaknesses because they see your strengths? And so we kind of answered that already.
Yep.
Definitely. Yeah. So I just, I experienced it with pretty much, it's always females. Because when I first got into the government, it was the same thing.
Right.
I mean, I can remember when I was pregnant with Mercedes.
I feel like guys can be that way too.
You think so?
Yes, because
you've had experience with that?
Guys can be haters, especially guys that are more on the feminine side. If they can be just as catty, okay? If not worse. So yeah.
So you've had that experience?
I've witnessed it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, yeah.
That's all they do is hang around with females. So that
projection reflection of who they are is gonna project feminine energy.
Yeah. Because how they say with guys, like guys are easier to get along with. I mean, they got their own little stuff that they can do, but it's just different.
Yeah.
Like they're not gonna be like women, if they're straight men and they
very masculine.
Right.
They don't have time for that. They don't have time for it.
They do their own slimy dirt, but it ain't in the same way as we do.
Yeah. But when I was pregnant with Mercedes, my first real government job, this girl, she could not stand me. And
really?
I was in the bathroom, and she, as a pregnant woman, she was like trying to fight me.
You was pregnant or she was pregnant?
I was pregnant with Mercedes at the time.
She was trying to fight you?
Yes, trying to fight a pregnant woman. I was in the bathroom and she was like...
Like you were showing?
Yeah, I was showing. I was big, probably like 6-7 months. And she had a problem with me. I never knew that she had a problem with me. And she just, because I guess I was being too friendly with her bestie at work.
Which was another female?
But I liked her. I mean, we worked together.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was, I'm just saying that
But you were in your early 20s, so I mean.
Yeah, I was in my early 20s. Yeah, I literally was what? I was 20. I was 20.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I thought it was the weirdest thing. Like
So what happened?
Me, the type of person I was, she was like, oh, well, I don't even remember the conversation. Why are you, I don't even remember the girl's name. Why are you talking to such and such and you are being real friendly with her? What are you talking about? Right. I said, we work at a job.
Right.
Oh, I know what the girl's name was, Jackie. I'll never forget. Yeah. Not the girl that bullied me, but the girl that I was friend. Yeah. And I was just like, seriously? I said, I don't even remember what I said, but I was just something like, we are adults.
Right.
If that's your friend,
we work together, like.
Yeah. I mean, because I like Jackie. She was a really cool person.
Right.
But her so-called best friend was weird. Like she was like it was her man. Like she was her man.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like they was in a relationship type deal.
But I don't know if they were.
Kind of crazy.
I mean, she didn't come off that way, but the bullied one did, but not Jackie. So I don't know because I wasn't. It was just kind of like I go to work, I talk to you, I hang out with you.
Right. You're not
really
when I leave.
Well, right. I ain't calling you on the phone. I'm not talking to you.
Right.
Because that's the way I've always been.
Right.
So yeah. So that was.
So did y'all end up getting in a fight?
No, I was pregnant. What if she had to hit me or whatever? She would have went to jail. You ain't supposed to hit no pregnant woman. You cannot hit a pregnant woman.
Why is it she was trying to fight you?
Because that she was like on top of me.
Oh, wow.
Inside the bathroom. Yeah, she got me off by myself.
So okay.
I talked my way out of it pretty much.
So you feel like she
was aggressive. Yeah, she was very aggressive towards me in the bathroom. And I'm just like saying to myself in my mind, what is she doing? Like, does she see that I'm really pregnant? Like, nobody wants your friend.
So you saying if you weren't pregnant,
then she might have. I don't know what she would have done if I hadn't talked, because I kind of have, I could talk my way out of stuff if I really need to.
Right.
So yeah, I just, we're just going back and just bringing up memories of stuff. And she just, like I said, she never liked me. So anytime I saw her coming, I'd just be like, ugh. Here she comes. She didn't even work with us. She worked on a different floor.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, baby, you know you're doing too much.
So I think her projecting herself to me, she had some insecurities within herself.
Yeah, because like, why do you care? Like, that much? Like,
you'd be surprised of the things that I have dealt with way before you were born. So why do you think a person can be judgmental about someone but refuses to acknowledge their judging characteristics? Meaning that they judge everybody else, but then when it comes to themselves, they kind of like, I ain't like that, or that's not really how it is.
I don't know. Would you call that being a narcissist?
Some form of issues mentally.
Because I feel like I've come across some people and they'll be like, oh, you're so judgmental. I'm just like, how? Like, I don't feel like I'm judgmental. I mean, I'm very open-minded when it comes to a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I'm going to call a spade, Yeah. So it's just a matter of you accepting reality versus a fantasy,
Well, I think we've blurred the lines between judgmental and being truthful.
Yeah, I think that's probably what it is.
Yeah,
you hit the nail.
You're just judging a person. To me, when you judge a person, you base solely on no information. That you don't know anything about them. Right. So you're judging them based on how they physically look, how they, maybe physically acting. I mean, you don't know a lot of times, and I think it's hard for all of us.
Yeah.
To not do that.
Right. Because me, honestly, knowing myself, I'm truly an advocate for you as a character. Like, I don't care if nobody don't like you. I don't care. Like, if I don't have no issues with you, you don't treat me bad, then I'm not going to treat you bad, or I'm not going to follow with the crowd and be like, oh, I don't like her because she's weird, or she this, or she's that, or she rubs most people the wrong way. Like, I don't care about that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and I base it solely on how they are treating me or how they come, because I never ever take someone else's opinion.
No, you can't.
About someone else.
You can't.
And use that and judge them. Because it's happened to me.
That because to me, that's a form of bullying. I feel like when you're just going with the crowd because nobody else, most people aren't. No, like I don't have an issue with them. They're not doing anything wrong with me, so I'm not gonna not like them because you don't like them.
And I think that's a reflection of that person who's doing it, who's being the judge of everything and trying to control the whole situation. Because we always have that, a lot of times people say when you have a group of girls, there's always that one girl who has to be the center of attention.
Right. The popular girl.
Well, popular even in her own little circle.
Right.
There's always that one.
The leader.
Yes, always that one. And if she judges somebody, everybody else has got to go along with it.
I hate that so much. Like, I know you said you hated cliques, so do I. Like, I want to talk to everybody. Because everybody brings something different to the table. I honestly believe everybody that you come in contact with, even if it's just for a short time, they're there for a reason. They're giving you some kind of knowledge, different perspective, whatever the case may be. Like, they're here for me. That's how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, yeah.
Because, like I was telling somebody at work the other day, like, there might be, I could be working somewhere for a whole year and there's 50, 100 people working at the job, and I only talk, out of that whole time I'm there, I only talk to maybe 30 of those people, and the rest never speak to. I just kind of see them, in passing. It's a reason for that.
Yeah, yeah.
You're not supposed to be friends with everybody. Not everybody's supposed to come in contact
associated with you.
Because there's a reason behind it. So I just try to take everything, and I attract a lot of weird people, I feel like. A lot of people that are misunderstood, a lot of outcasts, but a lot of those people are very successful. They're awesome, they're great, they're amazing. Those are the kind of people I like. Yeah. I like the underdogs.
Yeah, and a lot of times they're underdogs not because they are not successful or don't know anything. It's because people choose not to get to know them.
Right. They don't have a story to tell. It's just like you never know what people are going through. You never know what kind of life people have had. You don't know until you actually take the chance to figure it out. But some people,
if they don't look a certain way, they don't dress a certain way, they don't wear the certain designer outfit that I have, so I'm going to project my superior personality on you or my energy on you because I don't feel that you fit with me. Yeah. And I think that's always, my mother always taught me, everybody has something to offer. Right. And it doesn't matter what position in life they are in, somebody's always going to offer you some knowledge.
Right. Exactly.
And you have to look at it that way.
Yeah.
Don't ever look down on people. Don't ever look down on anybody.
Because you're not better than anybody. Like, you're not better than anybody. You can die just like everybody else.
Yeah.
So what makes you think you're different? You're not. No. You're really not.
Other than your status, probably you got more money.
But it's temporary. Like, we're all going to die. So you're going to take all that with you? No. Then if that was the case, then okay. Then maybe I understand. But you can't. So what you're trying to hold on to, these monetary things or this status or whatever you got going on, it's not important, because what's going to last, what's going to matter is those friendships, those relationships, those people, those connections that you make. Like, that's going to make a difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's either going to make you or break you. Yeah. In the long run. And like we said, you can lose it all. It's nothing guaranteed.
It's easy. It's easier to lose than it is to gain.
It's nothing guaranteed.
Especially the way this world is set up.
Exactly. It's not for us to win. You winning because they decided that's what you was going to do, because in some way you're benefiting them. But really, they can get two shits about you.
Yeah. 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 So when someone decides to remind you of your failures, do you consider that a reflection or just negative reflection energy?
Honey, negative. Negative, okay?
I cannot stand when people, you know what? I feel like this. If you have a failure and you have told someone about your failure, and then they get mad at you and bring that stuff up.
Because I'm just like, how you going to tell me?
That's the problem for me. It's like, you still hold on to that?
You're right.
Like, you still holding that against me, that I told you that I did something wrong to you or a situation that I was in, and then you get mad at me, and then you bring it, I will not, I don't even be bothered.
Yeah, it's like, let the past be the past. Like, you moved on, you didn't. I mean, god darn, like, what's going on?
That's some unforgiveness, and I think that it is a reflection. Not only is a negative reflection, it's a reflection of them projecting their insecurities onto you, because they're trying to puff them up. Well, you did that.
Yeah, past tense, did. Like, what did you do too?
Yeah.
But you don't see me bringing that up every 5 minutes,
or even when you're upset with them. Yeah. But I've dealt with people that do that, like bring up, or maybe say it, but they act.
Or they say, okay, well, I did this for you. That's why. No, I don't want you doing nothing for me. Yeah. If you
it's like a gift
over my head
with the string. I call that a gift with the string. So every time that I want to remind you, I pull that string because of that gift that I gave you.
You're right. Trying to keep you down, keep you,
Yeah, and there's
on
people
a leash.
And
remember I did that for you, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, what does that mean?
Yeah, you didn't have to do nothing. I didn't. Matter of fact, I didn't even ask you.
Right.
You volunteered.
Right.
I always think that's a reflection of who they are.
Yeah.
Not a reflection of what you're giving off.
Because then I always said that too. If you're gonna do something, do it at the kindness of your heart. Don't do it because you expecting something, or you just gonna hold it over their head the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Like, then I don't want it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just like everybody else, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I can go to the bank.
I might as well be homeless homeless person on the street to you.
Yeah, I can go to the bank because that's what the bank gonna do.
Right, exactly.
You're supposed to be my friend, then that's what you do. You do friend stuff. And if you give me, if we're dealing with money, if I give you money, then that means that you gave that the kindness of your heart. That's why I said never give anything when it comes to money. Give anything to a person that you need back.
Right.
Because if you need it back, chances are you're not going to get it, and it's going to ruin the relationship.
Right, because every time you see him, you still owe me some money. You owe me some money.
Yep. So when you give somebody
it's
some money,
always going to be there.
Yep. That's why I always say, don't give your overflow. Never give what you
unless
need.
You got it.
Yeah. If you don't have it, then I don't have it. I don't have it, but I have an overflow. So yeah, here you go. And the person be like, I'll pay you back.
I'm not expecting it back. I just have even heart because I can.
Yeah, even if the person says I'm gonna pay you back, you still in your mind you're like, it doesn't matter. If they give it back, they give it back. If they don't, they don't. Because I don't. It's not gonna hurt me.
You're not expecting it. Right?
Yeah. So have you ever encountered someone that mirrored your positive reflection energy for a short time, so your boundaries were lowered? This is a 2 question. I'm going to stick with that one first.
You said, have you ever encountered someone
that mirrored your positive reflection energy for a short time, so your boundaries were lowered?
When you say boundaries, like,
you know how like sometimes you don't let people necessarily know who you are?
I see what you're saying. Yes.
So you've had somebody just like, so if you're happy all the time, they're all of a sudden happy all the time. And if, they just mimic
different people.
They mimic you.
Or they're just already like that, So we both kind of have an understanding, and then that's that connection there. So
it didn't bother you with that situation that you're talking about, that it lowered your boundaries where you let them in.
Right.
So you didn't have a problem. You didn't have a problem with that situation that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm just saying, just with any people, with anybody.
Okay.
Yeah, because I pride myself in trying to surround myself with people who, we might not have every single thing in common, but the things that matter to me, just you being a good person, or you just wanting more, or not, like there has to be some kind of connection there. If you can meet me halfway with something, then that's what we're gonna connect on, so it's always gonna be, there's always gonna be that love there, because to me it's genuine. Okay, so see, you took my question. No.
You took my question as a positive. Yeah. When you answered it, which is great, because I do like that. Right. But it was I kind of was going kind of the opposite. So my second, the second question to that is, once you realize the gaslighting, how did you deal with it? See, so I was taking it as
go ahead.
Negative.
Say what you was gonna say.
That's what I was taking it as, because I've had it where someone wanted to get to know me. This is like probably maybe a couple years ago.
Like on a intimate level, or just another female?
No, it was a male.
Oh, okay.
And I was kind of like.
This is on like an intimate level?
Not at first. It was more or less like, I was like, you know what, I should have stuck with my intuition with this person. Yeah. And I was like, I really don't want to really talk to this person. I really don't want to get to know them. I don't want to do anything. And they came to me and saying, telling me their sob story. So then it was almost like I lowered my boundaries of my defense mechanism. And it's like, okay, they're, maybe they are really, cool person. They're not, one of those people that's trying to.
You said their sob story.
Yeah, their sob story
referring to their childhood.
No, about their adulthood, of things that happened to them, and they were homeless for a little while.
Oh wow!
And then they pulled themselves up, and they got a job, and they got a car, and they got a place to stay, that kind of thing. And they were telling me that this actually happened to them, which I believed them, and it actually did. But something else about them something was wrong with them, like they had a narcissistic type personality, because once I allowed my boundaries to go down, then they started gaslighting me. Like they would be like,
well, okay, so I hear that word a lot, gaslighting. Like I never use it, so I don't know exactly what people mean when they say.
Like if you see something wrong, like something, oh gosh, how can I use this as an example? Like, like basically you believe something or something happened. I'll use this as really simple. Like, we'll say that you walked into the kitchen and the light was on. And you go and say, you know what? I turned the light off. Why is it on again? Even though that person turned the light on, they would be like, I don't know what you're talking about. The light was off when I went into the kitchen. So
the person that you told that turned the light on,
yeah. So what
lying about the light?
Yes, that's what gaslighting is. It's trying to make you not believe.
Trying to make it seem like you crazy.
Yes, that's what gaslighting is. So this is what that person was trying to do to me. Like they would be like, well, you don't. When I call you and you don't answer your phone, that's because you with another ninja.
Oh, okay.
And I'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm working. And be like, nah, you lying. So they would always they would always make it seem like I was doing something that I was not.
Right. Yeah. I totally get it.
Yeah. But this person, I let my boundaries down, and then I felt like I didn't listen to my intuition because when I initially first met them.
So what made you? What was the red flag with your intuition?
Before I even let my boundaries down. Yeah. Because what did they do? This is really weird to me. The reason why the red flag came up is when they're like, oh, I want to FaceTime you. And I'm just like, this is before my intuition kicked in.
Right.
I was like, okay, cool. And this is so embarrassing. And I know that other females have experienced this.
Right.
As soon as he FaceTimed me, he showed me his private area.
Seriously?
Yes. His private part. And I was like, this is not the type of situation I want to be in. And I hung up on him.
Okay, so yeah, haven't experienced that.
Yes, so. I felt very weird. It was very.
So he didn't say anything or give any kind of clues or hints that this was going to be happening, or even any kind of sexual innuendos.
No, he did not. And so I was like, don't call me.
Was he fully erected, or was it like he was?
I don't know. I don't know.
So you just hung up after?
Yeah, I mean, it was like up. I was like, to myself, before I was like, what the S is going on? I mean, in my mind, I was like, what the S is going on? And I freaking hung up. I'm like, who? And I'm like, who does that? And he kept calling. He's like, I'm so sorry.
Has that ever happened to you?
That was the one time it's ever happened. He's like, I'm so sorry. I thought that this is something that, that you wanted. I'm like, I never indicated that I wanted that.
Right.
Who indicates that?
So he was texting you? After
I hung
hung
up, yes. And then what I did was that after that, I blocked his number.
So you never responded?
No. When he texted me, I was like, why did you do that? I was like, I was not expecting that on FaceTime. I just met you.
Oh my gosh.
And so
you come in contact with some of the weirdest people. Like, wow.
And so I blocked him. He called me from another number.
Oh, wow.
And he begged me, he begged, and he was like, I really just thought that this is, I don't know what the hell he thought. I don't know. And my instinct said, this guy, something is wrong with him. And then he told me his little sob story that, this, and it was just like, and then, me being the private person that I am.
You said private?
Huh?
You said private person?
The type of person that I am.
Okay.
Like, I'm very, empathetic with people. And I just like, but in my mind, I'm like, why am I even talking to this person? Because there's something wrong with them.
Right.
And I had to, like, I totally blocked that person.
I mean, was he cute?
I don't know what cute is. I don't know. He wasn't like drop dead gorgeous, if that's what you're asking. Okay. I mean, he was just average. He was average. I mean, I'm not sitting there saying that maybe he did that because, I mean, he was very huge. He was huge. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, wow.
It was huge.
So
but
you were scared.
Yeah, because I'm just like, what the hell? I was like, what the hell? Who does this? I'm a grown-ass woman. Who does this? This is something like 15, 16-year-olds would do to another 15.
Was he like super young?
No, he was younger than me.
Yeah.
But he wasn't super young. That's why I was confused. I was like, is this what we do? Because it's basically me first getting into the dating scene. I'm like, it's changed.
Right, like y'all doing. Yeah, that's...
I'm like, yeah. I was like, this is something that you would do maybe if you've been with a person for like 6, 7, 8, 9, a year, and y'all ain't been together
then it's
for a minute.
Like, y'all know what's going on type thing. It's not just, surprise, like...
Yeah, that was the weirdest encounter, and it's weird that I'm telling you this story.
I don't know why, because I feel like...
I know, because we
talk about...
I felt
sex all the time.
I know, but I felt violated even though it was on the video, because I felt like you were forcing something on me that I did not
ask for. Right. So it makes you feel uncomfortable, like, well, I'm surprised you entertained it.
Yeah, I still entertained it.
Because it's just kind of like, okay, well, if he did that, what else,
Yeah. But I did
do something
I did block him. And then he called me and he kept.
Have you ever actually met him in person? Or y'all was just talking? Y'all just been talking the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, yeah.
So you went on a date? Was this before or after?
This was,
this is no judgment, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I would think it was, I think it was before, I don't remember. That was 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, even after
so you met him in person
I was just
before. He wasn't shorter than you, was
he? No, he was like 6'5". He was taller than me, everything.
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, yeah, this is not.
Yeah, that's just kind of like, I don't know. Yeah,
I don't like talking about it because I feel like
it still bothers you.
It does bother me because I felt very violated. I did. Very, and I'm trying not to be emotional about it, but I didn't like it at all.
Right.
I really didn't, and I understand how women feel when
they're victims of something
of rape or something. It's a whole different level.
Right. Yeah. It's.
I mean, it really.
I've never been, but raped, but.
But I mean, just that aspect of it. Imagine the physicalness of it.
I've just been in situations that can definitely still be mind altering. Mm-hmm.
And people don't admit. I think a lot of times, just not to try to get too off the subject, but I think men don't really understand how we feel violated when we don't want that.
Yeah, and that's why I think it's so kind of crazy when, how different, whether it's celebrities or whatever the case may be, or just regular women who got fame based off,
doing
their sexuality
more than just auditioning.
It's like, what kind of, what kind of message are you sending, especially for women who may not be promiscuous?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that it's a mind, like you said, it's a mind altering.
it
situation
can send a wrong message, or maybe it's like men, especially when you're dealing with men that are sick, then they just kind of think that all women are the same, that all women. No, baby, that's not the case. Unless I'm telling you out of my mouth that this is something that I want, that this is what we're gonna be doing. If it's not consensual,
don't pursue
don't
it.
Assume it. Like, just don't, because that's a whole nother issue.
The whole nother topic.
Yeah.
So
and it's just like, and even for young girls, like I've got younger sisters, I've got a daughter, like they may just be, sexual or whatever. I'm not even sexual, but they feeling themselves, they want to get real cute or whatever. And to them, it might be innocent, but to somebody else, they might take it the wrong way.
Yeah.
And then that's the whole situation right there. So it's just kind of like, you just have to be mindful. It's like, okay, well, if you want to dress like how I'm dressed right now and go out, you need to be ready to receive whatever.
Yeah, the reflection of whatever somebody's perceiving or you're projecting onto them.
Exactly. Not saying that if they're doing something to you that you don't want, that is right, but just be mindful that people are going to be looking at both sides of them, especially if it becomes an issue. Okay, well, what were you doing? They want to figure out everything. So it kind of makes you look bad in a sense too. So it's just like, you always just have to be mindful of things nowadays. A lot of things, everything, you know?
What you're reflecting out.
Right. Because some people just crazy.
But yeah. That's why I love the whole block thing. And it's funny because in my age group, blocking to me was like juvenile. Like, you're a grown adult. Why do I need to block you?
Right.
But now I see why you have to block people, because they will continuously, if they have something going on in their brain, they will continuously agitate you, bother you, just call you out of the blue. I mean, this person still was calling me from another phone, another phone number. And it says, it would say caller ID, not whatever. They knew how to block this particular number. And I would know who it was. I was like, and then they would sit there and call me back to back. It's like thinking I'm going to answer the phone. Like, I know who this is. Why am I going to answer you, stalker? Why am I going to answer you? I'm not going to answer the phone with you.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not going to talk to you.
That's crazy.
Am I going to talk to you? I don't have nothing to say. And so I just think that some people don't realize what they project is crazy. Like Looney Tune, however you want to call it. Just, thinking that, it don't matter what I did. She's still going to talk to me, or he's still going to talk to me. And I just think
just have to, like you said, you have to listen to your intuition, because it's 9 times out of 10, it's not going to steer you wrong.
No, it's not. And even if you feel that it is, just listen to it anyway. Really listen to it, because I think
what's the worst that can happen? Nothing. Your life is saved. You
kept moving on. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's basically what you're doing. You're saving your own self from misery, from violently being hurt, or even worse.
Right.
But do you think lying to others or telling half truth is a reflection of receiving or projecting?
You said what now? I was looking at my phone.
Do you think lying to others or telling half truths is reflection of receiving or projecting? And I know this is kind of a,
lying to others or telling half truths.
Yeah, telling half truths. Yeah,
that's both. Yeah,
it is. I think it is, because a person can.
Because both people can be doing it.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I know that one was kind of, one of those just throw in, the bucket kind of questions.
Maybe you just got excited.
Got excited. Yeah, I've dealt with, for me, when I think about that question, when I look at myself, I don't feel like I need to lie or tell half truths.
When it's about you?
When it's about the other person, meaning that my reflection of myself is to tell the truth.
Right.
Even when it hurts. Because why else? Why do I need to lie? I'm grown. First of all, you ain't doing nothing for me, so I don't need to. I think when people lie or tell half truths, they do it for a reason. There's a motive behind it.
Right.
So I personally feel that I don't need to lie or tell half truths.
Yeah.
Because why?
Yeah.
Why do I have to lie to you?
Yeah.
Why do I have
to lose?
Yeah, nothing. Because you're either going to accept it or you're not.
Right.
And I had, and I think that comes with maturity. It comes with wisdom. That, as little kids, you have a tendency. As kids, we always, your mom said, did you take cookie out of cookie jar? No, knowing you did.
Right.
But as you get older and you have more experiences, you're just kind of like, why do I need to lie? I mean, it's not like I'm going to get my ass beat. Right. It's different with your mom and your dad. It's kind of like if I do tell the truth, they're gonna whip my butt. But then if they find out, so you deciding I'm gonna take a chance of lying, and they're not gonna find out the truth.
Right.
So, but as you get older, it's like my reflection of me looking at myself. I'm gonna tell the truth. I feel like when people are projecting themselves, when they are lying or telling half truths, it's not, but to me, it's an individual. It's an individual thing.
Yeah.
So have you ever been in a situation where you were treated differently by their closer friends, and how did it reflect or project how you saw yourself?
Yes, I have. And I feel like that's a common situation for a lot of people, just because you're always going to come in contact with people who have old friends that they've known before you. And you may never know those friends, but because you're friends with that person and you're like, hey, let's go out or whatever. And their friends are coming along, and their friends may not be super open to you because they don't know you. You're an outsider.
So how does that make you, how does that reflect or project on you? How do you feel when you have been in that situation?
I would feel like bad, because it's just kind of like, I don't know, I look at it from both ends. If I was a person coming into a group of people that I don't know, like me personally, I would try to get to know everybody, but I feel like it works both ways too, because if people are rubbing off like they don't really want to get to know you because you're just an outsider, then it's kind of like, okay, well, you can't make somebody talk to you. And if it was reversed and it was something, I was a group of friends, like I would want to get to know this person because that person is my friend. So if they think that if they like you enough to bring you around their friends, to bring you around us, why not get to know you? You know what I'm saying? Because I might get along with you. So I'll always try to make people feel comfortable. That's how
I felt. If I was the closer friends and someone was bringing someone in, I'm going to talk to that person to make them feel comfortable.
Right, because chances are, if your friend is bringing them around you, then that means that they're cool. They gotta be cool.
Everybody's cool. But then I've also been in a situation where I've been the one being brought in, and then I was treated still as an outsider,
because nobody knows you. But it's just kind of like,
and then even the friend,
I'm not here on my own accord. I just didn't show up.
Even the friend who brought me in kind of treated me differently when they were around their closer friends.
And
then that was a big turnoff. So then that means that, okay, well, since they're going to treat me that way, I'm not dealing with you no more. I'm going to be, I'm going to be kosher in this situation. Right. But I'm going to try to figure out how to leave this situation.
Right, exactly.
Go home early or whatever I need to do. That's why I always believe I'm going to drive my own vehicle.
Right, exactly.
I'm not riding with you. Especially if we're going
not stuck somewhere.
To be stuck in that and be mad.
You don't want it, right?
Because I'll be sitting in the corner with my face looking crazy,
right?
Like I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
Because it's happened. Oh yeah, it's happened. to me on numerous occasions.
Like, it's like, don't put people in that situation. You don't want to be in it, so don't put people in a situation. You know?
But some people don't think like that.
Or some things are just so simple. Some things is just human nature. Like,
and so
treat people how you want to be treated. That's how I feel at the end of the day. Like, and then I always say, if you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Like, just it works both ways. Like,
that's definitely how I was raised.
Right.
Yeah. If you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing
at
all.
Right. Just,
you know. Just keep your little opinion to yourself.
Right.
You know, and or if something is,
I mean, it really just depends on the situation. But most of the time, like,
I mean, if she walking and she got toilet paper on her shoe, I'm gonna say, hey, you let people know,
right? Like, hey, like you got this going on. They can appreciate that. They're not gonna be like, oh my gosh, why are you telling me this? Like, because I'm looking out for you. I don't know you, but I don't want you. Like, that's embarrassing. Like, that's very embarrassing. That's why I always make sure I check and I look.
What do you have to I know.
Right. It's just like, I'm looking out. Like, I don't care, you know. Like, I'm not embarrassed for you. It's just kind of like, I would be embarrassed if I just let you go about your business and you still looking crazy and up in people's face. Like,
yeah, I've seen it. Where
some people just not going to tell you.
I've seen it where people had little boogers in their nose.
Right.
And they was just talking, and I was like,
to me, I feel more comfortable.
I'm gonna tell you, you got something in your nose,
right? Yeah,
because it's just me. Because first of all, I'm tired of looking at it.
Right. Exactly. And it's like when you go and talking to somebody, you like up in their face, and this is all. That's what they're looking at.
Yeah, and it after a while it starts grossing me out. I have a thing about it. Just
right. So I'm just like, I'm gonna need you to, you know.
You just like,
I don't care. Like, hey, like,
yeah. So, you know, but like I said, some people just they, and I think that another thing when you get in a situation where there's a group of girls that don't know you,
right,
they project their insecurities because they're first of all they're looking at you, feeling you out. What she got on, what her hair look like, is she pretty? Where's my man at? Is my man gonna think she look better than me? I mean, there's a whole lot of things going on.
People are just insecure, really, for real.
Let me tell you. Well, I'm just gonna say this. I have been in a situation where there was nothing but women,
right,
and it was cool. They was all cool with each other. Soon as
but you wasn't cool with them.
No. We were all cool. Like, I didn't know everybody, but we were all females in this party. Just say this party. There was no men in there.
Right.
And then when the men started coming, the testosterone started coming in. Then that's when the cattiness started. And I don't know what it is about just women together and they cool with each other. What do they
men come into
and
the
then
mix.
When the men start coming in the mix.
It's like that competitiveness.
It's just like abrupt. And then all of a sudden it's like, what just happened?
Right, exactly.
You know? Yeah, and I've had that situation too.
I guess you could say it's understandable, but it's just kind of like.
But if they ain't your man, why are you acting like that? Like,
because maybe, you know, they might like them or something. Especially if they're single.
Yeah, I guess. I
mean, I don't know. It's for everybody. That's an individual response.
It has to be. It has to be because I don't care.
Because I don't know. Like I said, it's an individual response. Because if I have somebody coming in that I really like, and it's just a bunch of women around, and they talking to whoever or whatever, it's just like I said. I feel like that's more of an individual response.
Yeah, I just be like, you know what? I don't even care.
Right.
I'm just that type of person where it's just kind of like, especially if ain't nothing about him that I like anyway.
Right.
It's like, okay.
Yeah, it depends on the guys. It depends on what's going on.
If I don't know, especially if I don't know them.
Right.
If
you don't know them, then definitely. Even if they're probably not going to be faded by it.
Even if they fine.
Or phased by it,
and they look good. But some women are not like that. They get real catty about it.
Right.
And I'm just like, well, first of all, he don't know me. I don't know him.
Well, they probably got something going on behind the scenes.
They could.
Yeah.
Could be.
That's what I said. It's more of individual.
You don't know.
It just depends on you.
So do you project yourself to others by equally pouring positive reflection energy without no motives? Or do you protect yourself and wait for them to do it?
Okay, no. I don't have motives.
Okay. Your positive energy, you just project it because that's who you are as an individual.
Right. I treat everybody the same,
Until they otherwise show you their true colors.
Right, but depending on what's going on, because I feel like having motives isn't necessarily a bad thing. It really just depends on what the situation is.
Or what the motives are.
Right, like why you're talking to this person or why you're where you're at the time. Like, but I normally try to, be myself.
Yeah. And I think that is basically how I approach every situation that I am in or go into.
Right.
That I'm just going to be my positive, outgoing, friendly self. Yeah. I mean, I can be a little standoffish at first because I
can be standoffish.
I like to observe the room.
Yeah.
I definitely do that. I observe and see what people are talking about, their body language, what they're doing, how they are perceiving me just by looking at them and seeing how they're looking at me before I actually engage. Right. Because my motive is always going to be just to be friendly. Right. Because chances are I'm just like, these people I'm just going to meet one time. Right. And that's going to be the end of it. I'm not going in there looking for a friend. I'm not going in there looking for a relationship.
Right. So it's kind of like there's no reason for you to be any other way. But it's just like you can't give everybody the best of you.
No, you sure cannot. You can. I think that's something that you have to protect yourself.
You got to earn that.
Protect yourself with everybody. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't just give. Because people are takers as well.
It's just like, I just don't get how some people can just be so friendly with everybody. Like, tell everybody in business, like, they treat everybody like they've known them for years. And it's just kind of like.
To be too open.
Why? Like, why are you like this? Because.
I think that's too much positive energy. I think that's so positive where you have no boundaries. And I think that being positive and boundaries is a very thin line.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, because it's just like, that's not realistic because not everybody that you come in contact with is going to have your best interest at heart.
Yeah, they're not. I mean,
some people want to see you fail. They might not come out and tell you outwardly, but they really don't care nothing about you.
No.
And they're going to talk about you like a dog behind your back. So it's just kind of like, you want to be friendly with everybody, you just can't. I mean,
you have to deal with the consequences.
I'm not saying don't be, and especially when you're like new, you're new and you want everybody to like, sometimes you can't care about that shit. It's like be respectful. There's a fine line between being respectful and knowing your place, especially when you're just coming on, like you're the new person, you're the new girl, you're the new guy. So you're kind of staying in your lane, you're trying to fill it out, trying to figure out where you belong per se. Yeah. And then once everybody's comfortable with you, you know what's going on. You
really can pick and choose, but you really can feel
right off the bat. Hell no.
Fill out who's who. I think that's why observation. That's why I observe everybody that I come in contact with.
Because they're not gonna get the same treatment somebody else is gonna get.
No, I'm very selective. If I tell you what, if I let you into my personal life and I tell you things, that's because I chose you.
Right, exactly. Not because
I chose you.
You treating everybody else the same. No, I don't want nobody that treats everybody the same.
Yeah,
because I'm not everybody else. I'm me.
Yeah,
I got different problems. I got different stuff going on. Like, I need somebody that's for me. Not for everybody else.
Yeah, and I mean that's a good quality to have.
Yeah, like I can't stand it. It's just like
some people are just like blah, 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 and it's like wow, okay.
I mean, I don't even know that.
Like, let me tell you, you don't even remember. Oh my gosh, remember when it was the girl that worked at Ruby Tuesdays with us. Remember? She was a hostess as well. And she lived behind us.
You remember what her name was or how she looked? Because
it was a white girl. And she lived behind us. And she was, I don't even remember her name. Her baby was born on the same day as Jillian. They were at the hospital at the same exact time.
I was 19 when I started working there.
No, but you guys had the baby together. We
wasn't working there that long.
Yes, I'm telling you. Yes, you remember her because the reason why I'm bringing it up is because I wasn't even working there for maybe 2 months. She told me that the guy that she had the baby with, that she was living with, his brother went to work. He was at work. And his brother came over and they drank and got drunk together. And she ended up sleeping with his brother. I forgot her name.
I have no kid.
No, you didn't
meet Jillian's dad until I was working at La Prida.
But she lived behind us when we lived in Stony Oak. Yes.
Jillian wasn't even thought of.
No, but what I'm saying is that she still lived behind us even after. Because they were at the hospital the same day because I ran into her
wasn't
husband.
Working there then.
No, we weren't. But she still lived behind us. We were all working at Ruby Tuesdays at one time, but she lived behind us. When you see her, you would know who she was. But she lived behind us. And she had told me that story. And I was like, wow, you slept with your boyfriend's brother? And I didn't even know this girl for 2 months. And I was like, well, did he you not with him? And she's like, no, he forgave me.
Okay, I think I remember this story.
But this was later on, obviously, when Jillian came. But her first child and Jillian had the exact same birthday. They were born on the same day because when I came to the hospital, he was there. And I knew him because he lived behind us. And I was like, oh. I was like, why are you here? And he's like, oh, my
but you didn't
fiance.
Know him.
No, I knew him. I knew who he was because
you knew you.
Yes, because they literally lived behind us.
Right.
And I would see him. And so I never really talked to him, but I did talk to him when we were in the hospital because I was just I didn't realize that because after we left Ruby Tuesdays, I never saw her again.
Right.
But I knew she lived behind us, but she didn't interact with us like that. She only interacted with us when we were at work.
Yeah.
But I was just saying that she was one of those girls that would she told all of her business. And I was saying to myself when she was telling me, I was like, I would never tell anybody that I slept with my fiance's brother. I would never.
Yeah.
It was just too much information. And she was everything was always very positive for her. Everything's so positive. Everything is so this.
Yeah, you live in a dream world. Because that's...
Yeah, I don't know if she's changed now. Obviously she's a lot older now, but...
I hope so, shit.
When you value who you are, does the other person's projection of themselves dictate how you actively participate in their life, depending on what type of energy you are protecting towards? They are protecting towards you. I know this is a long...
Yeah, that was a mouthful.
Huh?
So that was definitely a mouthful.
So when you
value... keeping up with the time?
Huh? Yeah, I'm keeping up with the time, yeah.
Okay.
So when you value who you are, does the other person's projection of themselves dictate how you actively participate in their life?
When you value yourself.
Yeah, so they're projecting, we'll say negative. Everything is negative to them. Do you actively participate? No, do you actively participate in their life anymore? When every time you're around them, it's always something negative all the time.
Oh, no.
It's always raining with them.
I can't. I don't like being around people like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, especially when you value who you are. You value yourself. You value your peace.
Yeah, because it's draining.
They're like vampire draining. And you're just tired when you go around them and they even open their mouth. You're like, why do I feel tired? Yeah.
No,
So
it's draining. No, I try not to be around people that's negative all the time.
well, yeah, I mean, we're pretty much down to the last wire. I mean, I have more questions, but the time has consumed us. I always try to write more than what time allows.
And this is probably like the third time that you've done this.
What?
You just kind of ran out of time?
Yeah, I just ran out of time, but I like to have more than enough information to talk about because.
But do you ever reuse the stuff?
Sometimes.
It just depends on the topic.
Yeah. So I will ask this last question because I like the last question. So when people meet for the very first time and they have an intimate connection instantly, do you think that's a receiving and projection energy combination? And if so, do you believe it was aligned purposefully?
Yes.
You like me. Because every time I meet people, it's not always a good combination of connection. It's kind of like, yeah, I can't wait to get away from this person.
Right.
I've only had that happen to me a few times. My friend that I'm still friends with, Nita, when we met, I was in the 11th grade and she was in the 10th grade. As soon as we met, we were connected. Yeah. And it was just like, that was like my friend. And we're still friends to this day. Right. She changed. It's such a funny story. She came after, who was it? Mercedes. When Mercedes, she came here when Sierra was born, but when Mercedes was born, and we just still laugh too about this day. She changed her diaper and she put the diaper on backwards. So she's been in my life since I was in 11th grade, and she has been around all of my kids. Yeah. Every last one of them. So, yeah. I just think that...
So you never actually had that with anybody that you was in a relationship with?
One person.
And what happened?
It still happened. And I can't really elaborate on it, but it was instantaneously. It was an instant connection. I've never had that before.
Yeah, but it's just kind of like, if you really feel like that, don't you feel like it would
progress?
Yes.
You would think.
If that person felt the same way, they will be fighting just as much as you.
Yeah, probably. So maybe it was but
maybe it's just you receiving.
I don't know, because that's it. I don't know. Maybe that person is blocking it. Maybe they're blocking it for whatever reason. Because some people will block stuff because they're just like, no.
Yeah, but it's like, what's the reason for blocking?
I don't know. Why do people do what they do?
There's reasons.
It could be a lot of reasons. Maybe they're focused on something else, or maybe that's not priority, or maybe they do, but then they're like, well, maybe
but they've told you the reason of why they're
they could, but a lot of times we have self-sabotage.
But you don't accept it.
I don't know what to accept. I just say, okay, it's whatever. Because at the end of the day, that's what you have to do, regardless. That's how I feel. So
you're saying that you're willing to let this go based off of what they think they want.
What they think
instead
they don't
of fighting for it.
I don't know. I don't know if you can fight for it if the other person is not receptive.
You can. You definitely can.
Well, it's not like I've given up. I just say I don't really know how to deal with it because I've never really had that connection with,
like, ever. Are you sure? Like, are you really thinking about? Nobody that you dealt with.
I think we're talking about first initial meeting.
And then it's just connection.
Yeah, like
but there's always something. I mean, I feel like I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, it's like I said, it's not black. Nothing is ever black and white anymore. You can't. You don't know why, because because I mean, I've even heard where people say you may meet the right person, but it's not the right time. So I have to leave it at that.
I'll take that.
But then I have to say that sometimes the universe will give you something you want, and then you'll say, I don't want that, even though the universe says, but that's what you asked for.
Right.
But then you're rejecting it. So, I mean, we all deal with that because it's all happened to us. We've asked for something, and then it's given to us, and then we're like, I don't want it. I don't like it. And then it may take you years for it to come back around again. So,
but it just goes back to what I was saying earlier. But the pet peeves, like, you could be with somebody, and for whatever reason, right then and there, y'all end up going your separate ways, living your own lives, but then y'all came back.
Yep, 10 years. 10 years for...
10 years.
Yeah, to do whatever and really realize that was actually the person for me. Or, we had our little hiccups, but you align back up again.
And hopefully... I mean, I don't know them, but, hopefully it works out because it's just kind of like she was able to deal with different people and live her life and get married and have kids. Same as him. So hopefully they're both at a point where it's just kind of like, you know what? And we're supposed to be together after all. So we going to figure it out.
And a lot of times it's because other people are whispering in your ear. And it could have been...
Always. That's why they say when you got shit going on bad in a relationship, it's just best don't tell nobody. Because when y'all work shit out, people don't know how to let shit go. They always remember the bad shit. They never look at the good stuff. They never... Because they don't really know them enough. They don't really see how that person is really good for you. But they got shit going on that they need to figure out. So I gotta put you to the side for a second and let you figure out what you gotta figure out.
Or your friends,
I gotta keep it pushing.
Right. Or your friends are projecting how they see you, and then try to tell you, oh well, they're not good enough for you, or they're not good for you. There's somebody
It's just like,
better.
What does that mean? Like, what are you basing off of? The way I look, how I act, like. It doesn't matter because somebody can have all the money in the world and be completely wrong for you. Somebody could be the goodest person, look the greatest for you. That like y'all look good together, but they're just not the person. So I don't know. Like I said, it just goes back to really getting to know people as individuals and not just basing it off of, because people go through shit. People go through
perception.
And sometimes people haven't figured out how to deal with it because they've been fucked over so many times. Excuse my language.
This is...
they just... It's a process for everybody. Everybody has to go through... Everybody has their time, So I can't expect people to be... to move as fast as I'm moving.
Yeah.
Like,
growth is an individual thing. Some people grow faster than others, and then some people stay stagnant for a little while because they have to learn a lesson that they keep repeating.
Right. And sometimes sometimes that's the straw that breaks the camel's back. But it's just like, if you tell me that you want to be different and you want to change, because I've changed. I've seen myself grow and transform so much. Like, and I don't want people to hold stuff over my head or think, okay, because you have a child in a wedlock, Jillian's dad's on the picture, that I'm a bad person. I'm irresponsible. I'm this or I'm that. Because no, that's not the case. Because that doesn't. My past doesn't define me.
Yeah, you made choices because that other person. A lot of times, the other person tells you things, and when you really want to be with that person, you believe what they are perceiving to you, projecting to you.
That's the thing. Like, I'm okay. Like,
but you were younger then, so you there was that naiveness. Right. Now it's like, okay, if somebody bring that same game that he did, I already know. You need to keep it moving because I already know the game.
Right.
You learn from it, and I think that's the life that people don't understand. They always point fingers, point.
Right.
And it's like, okay, I was naive. I didn't know. That's the first time that ever happened. But I promise you that's not going to happen again.
Right. Because I can accept that everybody has a different role. Everybody has a different path. Like, we're not all on the same path. So I never want to be that person and make somebody feel bad because of who they're with or whatever decision they decided to make. Because at the end of the day, maybe that's what they felt was best for them at that time, or maybe they just didn't know better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I can't ever tell somebody what decision they need to make because I'm not living your life. Like, and I want people to give me that same respect.
Yeah. And that's
no matter how bad the situation may look, because at the end of the day, I'm not living it. So I can't, if you ask for my opinion, then I'm depending on the situation, I may or may not give you my opinion, but I'm never going to tell somebody what to do because I don't know.
And the funny thing is that I this reflecting mirrors title just brought out a whole different Valentina. I mean, she just dominated the conversation tonight, which I'm glad because I always feel like I'm always, carrying or dominating and
overstepping.
Well, just dominating the conversation, and you're really just engaging. And I love it. So I'm trying to put a little bit of word, but I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and let her be on her soapbox and do her thing because sometimes
a lot of this stuff is just like you just speaking from experiences, and like he said, I've had a lot of different experiences, and I can't change my thought process when it comes to certain things because at the end of the day, I am who I am, and
that's what you're reflecting to the world. This is Valentina.
You just can't change who you are. Like at the end of the day, you can't run. Depending on you can't run from yourself. Like
no, you cannot. You cannot do.
No, you can't run from yourself. So it's like at the end of the day, it's a wear down when you try to live for other people versus living for yourself. Even if they don't agree with you, one day they might agree with you. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like if you're living for other people, you're gonna wear yourself out.
You're gonna be miserable,
right? So sometimes you got to make the hard choices and do what you feel.
Yeah. When you look,
is best for you.
When you look at the reflection in the mirror of yourself, what do you see?
Right. You got to look at what your worth is, what you are expected, like how you want people to perceive you, how you want to be treated, like.
And they're not always going to
be honest with yourself.
Yeah, and they're not going to always treat. I feel like this. We take that and think that, okay, because I look at myself this way, I value myself, I am this, I am that.
Right.
That someone else is going to perceive you that way. That's not always necessarily true because they may have the insecurities or they see what they want in you, but they don't have it. So of course they're going to reflect their negativeness or their reflection of who they think that they're not as good as you. So I'm gonna make you feel bad about yourself. So you always have to know that, hey, no matter what this person or the world feels about me, I know who I am.
Right, exactly. And you know what your worth is.
Yes, and that's where I say reflecting mirrors.
You have to demand that. Like,
yeah.
And like I said, sometimes you just gotta let people go out by the wayside and then let them do what they gotta do. And if it's meant to be, whatever, then God will do what he needs to do. But it's just like at the end of the day, sometimes you gotta let people figure it out. You know?
And let them go. But we're going to cut it. I think we went way over. But you know what? This is a great conversation.
Way over 30 minutes?
I don't know. I mean, I try to sit. Now I'm just trying to stay in 2 hours, really. Because looking at other podcasts, sometimes they be going 3 hours long. They're like, dang, y'all got 3 hours worth of information to talk about.
It's kind of like, if it's so good, it's like, dang, shit, this been, I watched.
Yeah.
They've been going on for 4 hours now. What's going on? This is good.
But we plan on having our first female guest next week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Would it be our first female guest?
Yes, we have not had a female guest.
That's crazy.
So it's gonna be. We ain't gonna tell you nothing about it. It's gonna be. I'm thinking it's gonna be lit. It's gonna be something that's gonna be off the cuff, out the box,
right? Unexpected.
But I think it's gonna be exciting because the topic that I have for it, people are gonna be like, oh, well, it's just gonna be.
And this is
all
next Wednesday, right?
Yes, this is supposed to be next Wednesday. We have our first female guest. It's gonna be an honor to have. It's taken us a while. I mean, there's a few female that have decided that they're gonna, come on and be our guest, but she's gonna be our first one, and I'm looking forward because she's your associate. I don't know her, so I'm actually looking forward to meeting her and just
me too. I think I haven't known her long, but the short time that I have met her, like I said, like I'm a people person, but at the same time, like I know who I have a connection with and I know who I don't. So
and you had a connection with her.
I did. And plus the way that I met her, like it was kind of in one of those environments where you kind of have to really there's that vulnerability there. So
trust, you have to trust. The trust has to be
vulnerability and a lot of competitiveness.
Yeah, and if you don't trust, then that means I'm not going to be bothered with you.
Right. Exactly.
Period. There's a cut. It's snip because it is cutthroat type situation. Right. So we're not going to go too deep into it because I don't need nobody to guess it or know. They just gonna have to wait. Right. So we're gonna end with our beat. You guys have a wonderful evening. And we look forward to coming back with you with Candid Talk with Lexee Love and
Valentina versus Valentino.
Y'all have a good night.